All right. We are fresh off the 2024 NFL Combine, historical combine. You and I discussed one of the fastest combines we can remember in recent memory, at least at the skill positions. You're talking about the cornerbacks, the wide receivers, the running backs. Hell, defensive linemen even ran fast for that matter. But
Mhm.
before we get into our combine recap, let's touch on a little bit of Detroit Lions news that broke today. And that's often hurt cornerback Emmanuel Mosley, who signed a free agent deal last offseason with us for $5 million. Played 2 plays towards ACL again against the Carolina Panthers and has been out ever since. Now, the 1 year deal, money wise, has not been disclosed. But at the end of the day, we're assuming that I think a guy like Mosley coming off 2 injuries like that, he knew what the market was going to be for him. I'm pretty sure his agent let him know what the market was going to be for him. And
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure he took significantly less than the 5 mil he got in free agency last offseason. What were your initial thoughts on it? Because for me, it didn't. How can I put this? It was like another red shirt season, but I didn't understand it completely because if you look at it for what it is, he tore the first ACL year before last, had the rehab, came back, played 2 plays, tore it again. So now he's double behind. And when you look at guys like Tre'Davious White and other corners around the league,
Mhm.
typically for a position like cornerback, where everything is built off explosion, short area quickness, the ability to stop and go, turn on the dime, left, right, north, south, up, down, for that matter,
Yeah.
coming running downfield, out of your breaks and run support. Everything is based off of explosion. Typically, when that guy tears that first ACL, they tear another one, and that's what happened that's what happened to Tre'Davious White of the Buffalo Bills. He was trending up, best corner in the league, possibly tore that first ACL, been often hurt the last couple years, 3 years.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about a guy who's not even to the level of Tre'Davious White and Emmanuel Mosley. And I feel kind of bad for Mosley because Mosley was ascending when he was with the San Francisco 49ers. He was starting to come into his own,
Yeah.
got hurt. 49ers didn't view him as worth the investment. He came here, didn't see the money he thought he was going to get on the market in free agency, signed here for 1 year for 5 mil, didn't play last season. So now we're looking at another guy in a situation where he's double coming back now. He's got 3 years worth of injuries, 32 games missed due to injury working against him, and 2 ACLs.
Yeah.
So what was your initial thought on all this?
Yeah. I don't take it as, like this is the reason why, this is the guy we're going to go into the 2024 season with at starting corner. And that position is checked off the box. You know what I'm saying, Walt? I don't think it has anything to do with free agency. I don't think it has anything to do with the draft or anything like that. I think that, listen, let's be honest. He may not even be on a roster when they hit the field for their first game of the season. You know what I'm saying? I, I don't put any stock into it. You know what I'm saying at all because, like I said, he might not even be on a roster. Not that I'm wishing that on him as an individual, but I just believe that you know that's a long road to come back, and we know how hard it is, man. I was at that game, Walt, when he got into the game against Carolina, and I was glad he was coming in the game. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, the second snap he played, he got hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those fluky things. I don't think that that's something that would happen again, but you know what I'm saying, for a second time. But like you said, it could. I mean, well, he's been hurt twice already. So I think that that's just right now. You gotta make little nuances to your roster, as he's a backup at best right now. He's not QB2 or cornerback one or cornerback two or anything like that. So right now, we play. They playing for a coach that Dan Campbell. I think he sympathizes for guys like that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I think try hard. Okay, we ain't just gonna just cut you and leave you on the street. We gonna give you a chance to make the roster. That type of thing. So, um, again, like I said, I think he a long shot. Walt to even make the team. To be honest with you.
So considering everything that he has working against him,
Mm-hmm.
does it really even make sense to turn around and cut him in August or cut him in September? Considering the fact that you already knew you brought him back because you had a soft spot for what he went through, which is
Mm-hmm.
fair. Like I said, dude was trending up when he was with San Francisco,
Yeah.
and the injury bug got a hold of him.
Yeah.
Like, well, Jason Verrett is just an extreme. Verrett was a dude who just got hurt every single year, year after year after year. Seemed
Mm-hmm.
training camp, but it seems like we've seen a lot of dudes like him that when injuries decide to take a hold of your career, it's not a damn thing you can do about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can be a good player all you want, but
Yeah.
when those injuries start to pile up, they pile up. You're talking about a dude having to bounce back from 2 ACLs.
Yeah.
We have no history of that working out for nobody, especially at that position, unless you're a mutant like AP. AP played running back, and Adrian Peterson was just
Damn
a
near.
different breed of man out there.
Yeah,
So,
never got hurt. Hell yeah. Yep. And
yeah,
I think that, Mosley, like I said, at best, okay, let's just say 70%. Is he better than Jerry Jacobs at full strength? Probably. You know what I'm saying? Is Emmanuel Mosley set at 70% better than what's this guy? The one that was getting torched late. Vildor. Is he better than Vildor? Probably. You know what I'm saying? So
I
just
don't know.
outweigh process of elimination.
I haven't seen Emmanuel play like significant football in almost 2 years, man. It's
I
I
don't know.
don't know.
I will, me personally, like I said, I would,
But do you take him over
it,
the field? Now, do you
hell no.
does
Nope.
that's the point I'm trying to make. Does
No.
Emmanuel Mosley provide you a better opportunity over the rest of these free agent cornerbacks out here?
No. Heck, and
Because
I
we
don't think
discussed
it,
in the last show dudes who you can get for 1 year, 1.5 mil.
for sure. For sure. And if that happens, well, because people got to realize right now, he's like a guy that's a filling guy right now. People become available, and Walt, the new league year starts in a week, right? People gonna become available. You know what I'm saying? People that you didn't think gonna get traded or become available. People in the draft, it's gonna be opportunities to draft guys that we ain't even talking about right now. And if they happen to be a quarterback, see you later, Emmanuel Mosley. You know what I mean? That type of thing. I just think it's for right now. That's all I'm saying. Just like, Shane Zylstra. I mean, God bless him. I mean, remember last year he got hurt in
Soft
preseason.
spot.
Yeah, right. And I think
Another
right
soft spot.
now, him and Mosley back in the building working out. They back in the building lifting weights. They back, in film study. But shit, it might change when August hit. That's all I'm saying.
James Mitchell. I mean, it's
Yeah.
obvious Sam Laporta's the number 1 tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct.
now you're talking about James Mitchell, who ended another season not being able to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's been rough for him. I thought we had more brighter aspects for him than what's happened, but I think what really messed up his whole development was Sam Laporta.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone expected Sam to be as great straight out the gate as he was.
Yeah.
Dude was what, first team All-Pro?
Yeah.
Or second
Amazing.
team All-Pro?
Yeah, he was ridiculous, man. Yep.
So that right there stunted James Mitchell growth altogether. So yeah. All right, man. So NFL Combine.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the biggest winners and losers, man.
Boy.
I want to talk about somebody that's from here, and that's Kalen King, former Cass technician, went to the University of Penn State, was a guy who some felt should have came out a year ago.
Yeah.
Played some of his best football in 2022, opposite of Joey Porter. Kind of outplayed Joey Porter in that Penn State secondary on a lot of Saturdays. Struggled tremendously this year.
Yeah.
He was put into a whole different role now. He was expected to go out there. This is a dude who started the season, preseason, before college football even started. Some people had him as a top 10 pick. Some people had him as a top 15, top 20. Most of these people had him, NFL people, had him as a first-round pick, nothing less than that.
Yeah.
Now we're hearing word about Kalen King potentially not even being drafted, which is crazy. This fall
Mhm.
reminds me of similar to what Marvin Wilson, defensive tackle from Florida State, went through 3 years ago. Dude went from a potential top 10 pick to not even drafted to signed by the Cleveland Browns as an undrafted free agent to out of the NFL altogether. So
Yeah.
the NFL, man, things can happen, man,
Yep.
between these big boards we see in June and these big boards we see in February. But aside from Kalen King, man, unless you want to talk more about Kalen King, who else was there out there that really, really disappointed you at the combine?
Yeah, good question. Oh man. I really thought that it would be a coming out party for I wrote the kid's name down. Brandon Dorlus. That was the guy that I was like kind of looking at. We got our guys and everybody has their top 15 or 20 guys, but he's a guy that Lions could potentially draft, you know what I'm saying, with the first pick or with the second round. And I always kind of do a lot of mock drafts, and he always one of the guys that's fallen to us in one of the first two rounds, right? So I'm kind of looking at him, and he doesn't impress me at all. I mean, this is what I mean. I mean, how can you? If somebody may say, how can you say he doesn't impress you and he hasn't even played yet? Well, I'm just gonna say just the balance, just being able just to be quick off. It doesn't seem like he's as quick as he was like maybe during the season. Maybe it might be not taking it serious enough, or maybe the season's over. Maybe he not going all out in his workouts, or maybe he been off for a month or something. Let your body recover, that type of thing. But he was just one guy, Walt, that I kind of thought that stood out, that didn't really for me. And it's another guy, he really wasn't really at the combine. And this thing with Kool-Aid McKinstry too, I think that he's another guy that I was really high on like halfway during the season. And now I don't even know if I want him now because I know it's about six or
In no
seven.
round whatsoever?
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say it's about 5 or 6, 7 guys that I would pick before him. Like, you know what I'm saying, in the first couple of, like, if it's a Brian Branch situation where he falls maybe the third round, depending on our first couple picks, yeah, of course you pick him. But I don't know, man. I think that this is, I always say whatever draft, whatever position group in whatever year draft, right? I think this is a strong cornerback year, and I don't know where he fits in. I know maybe he's, I mean Cooper DeJean, I mean we can go through the guys, but I think there's a lot of guys that's better than him. And I thought that now this at this point of the season, I thought it would be clear cut. You know what I'm saying? That Kool-Aid's the first guy, like that's our guy. If he comes to us at 29, and some boards I've seen he would go as high as 10, right? And then some I would see as low. I haven't seen lower than second round pick though. That's the only thing. I haven't seen him like drop way like fourth or fifth round or third round or something like that. So those are
Yeah, you
two
talking
guys.
about by that time, you're talking about putting him in like the third or fourth groups of corners. I think that's a little ridiculous, but
Yeah. Yep.
um the hype
Hmm.
that I think him and his other paired corner, Terrion Arnold, came into this season with. Arnold actually outplayed him
Hmm.
all season.
Yeah.
Um, he was my number one corner, Terrion Arnold, for about a couple months. Then the 40 times kind of scare me. The thing is I don't put a huge basis on the 40 time when it comes to certain positions, but I do at corner. I don't really not even put that big of an emphasis on the 40 time when it comes to wide receivers. When it comes to edge rushers and
Hmm.
cornerbacks, I need to see athleticism
Yeah.
and explode.
Linebacker. Yeah.
Because we said this repeatedly, and we're gonna talk about the receiver position in a minute. Just over the past 4 years alone, look at the quality of receivers that have come into this league. It seems, and we talked about this before, it seems like year after year you have a new generational type group of
Crop.
receivers
Yep.
every single year. Now, on top of everything that came in the last 3 years, now you're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. walking through the door,
Yep.
and Rome Dunze, and
Hmm.
Malik Neighbors,
Oh
and
man.
a ton of other names. Like,
Yeah.
the need for athleticism at corner is ridiculous now.
Yeah, you need it, right? You can't be
We talked
stiff.
about
Yeah.
at the combine we had 9 receivers, I think, that ran sub 4.4.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy out here. And
Yep.
technique can only get you so far. It gets to a point where you need to have athleticism, explosiveness,
Mm-hmm.
speed. You need dudes out there, and we don't have any dudes. Not to just bring the Lions into this, but
Well, I mean, yeah,
when you
this
have
is
so many dudes at wide receiver walk into the league, what makes you think that you can just keep throwing out every time Dick and Harry to go out there and just cover Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase? It's
mm-hmm.
crazy, man. It's like it's disrespectful to the opponent. What do you
Yeah.
think Justin Jefferson says when he matches up against our corners?
Yeah, like it.
Or Devontae Adams said for all those years with the Packers matching up against our corners.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you don't need elite cornerback play, you crazy out here in this day and age in the NFL. And we see this every year.
Yeah, and then too, like, and our division. Well, I mean, that's what I'm gonna keep telling people. Like, it's gonna get hard. Okay, from here. Okay, it's not. I think the Lions have put themselves at a place where, yeah, of course, we can expect to be good, but it ain't no guarantee. You know what I'm saying? And I think right now, to kind of keep up with the Joneses, I always say you start off every new NFL season by your division, by your peers. Okay. Remember, I said Jared Goff had to be the best quarterback in our division for us to win. Okay. Now we on another level. We don't won that. We've been there, done that. Now look at who's those other teams are drafted. Look at the other teams, what they're doing. Like, okay, now we know quarterback play gonna be at a high level next year, right? Because Chicago pretty much have done everything in their power to say Justin Fields ain't our guy right now, right? So Justin Fields probably gonna be gone. You got obviously Jordan Love, who looked damn good to me. And then you got the situation in Minnesota that's kind of up in the air.
We don't
So
know who. It could be
right.
a rookie starting there.
Right. So what I'm getting at, it's not a quarterback show per se, but what I'm saying is now you have to get, okay, we got elite receivers in our division. So now, like you said, we can't try Jerry Jacobs out there again. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna work, bro. You know what I'm saying? We already know we got our hands full. I think our division gonna be high scoring next year, and we're gonna have to get somebody who can cover one-on-one, man. I think that's a glaring need. I think they'll address it. You know what I'm saying? And I think Mosley has nothing to do with it. And like you said, Nate Wiggins would be great, but Nate Wiggins ran a 4.28. There's no way he's gonna be there 29. That kid pretty much locked himself up to be a top 20 pick. You know what I'm saying? By the way he performed.
Quinyon Mitchell as well.
Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell. Those two guys, they would never be there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, good question, Darcy. I think that Justin Fields is a guy that I called it from the start. I think the Falcons are going to come calling, man. I think people are saying the Steelers, but I could see Mike Tomlin getting Russell Wilson from Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? Just because I think I
Gives
think
them a better
Tomlin,
chance to win immediately.
yeah, exactly. I think Tomlin can relate to a guy like Russell Wilson. I really do. I think that Sean Payton. Say what you want about him. I don't know if he even really liked Russell Wilson. That might not have been this guy. But anyway, to answer that question, I think that if I had to place a bet, I'm going to say Justin Fields is going to be in Atlanta. That's what I think. But, hey, getting back to this the combine, there was some guys that stood out, and I agree with you. Like, when I look for speed. Okay, anybody that's trying to scout players or whatever what I'm saying, the linebacker, cornerback, receiver, those are the three spots you gotta have speed. And speed wins. Speed is gonna 9 times out of 10 get you off the field on third down when you're trying to make trying to make a play, right? So linebacker, people shun that position on our team right now, and rightfully so. Derek Barnes was great. Anzalone was great. Jack Campbell was if you had to rate him 1 through 10, I think Jack Campbell was an 8, especially at the end of the season. Linebackers loaded this year, man. I wouldn't be shocked if I'm just saying if I had the general manager hat on it's a bunch of guys, man, at linebacker that could help. I mean, it is a lot of guys. I think that maybe special teams guy too, but I think it's about 4 or 5 guys that you can call them a difference maker, man. You know what I'm saying, at that position. Um, when you look at I want to just Trevin Wallace. That was one guy, Walt, I want to tell you about. If you don't even already know, I know you do. From Kentucky, he ran a
Mhm.
4.52. Not even talked about. Kentucky's turning out. They're like Duke
Him
right
and
now.
Ray Davis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ray Davis. Hell yeah, I love Ray Davis too.
Didn't Trevor have like a 39.5-inch vertical too?
I didn't see the vertical jump. Maybe somebody who's listening
Yeah.
or watching, they can correct that. But
It-
I'm not
it-
sure. I didn't see him jump off. But I know, man, he turns, gets his hips right, shoulders right. Everything is right with that kid. You know, with me, I'm proponent, right space. I mean, the right place. Be where you're supposed to be. It just seemed like that kid, he got it upstairs, man, a little bit. So I like him. Um, you turned me on to Dallas Turn. I kind of knew Dallas Turn already. Obviously, he's the obvious top 7 pick in his draft, but Dallas Turner's a beast, dude. That kid is a monster. I mean, I just him running it almost like he feeds off the competition. And I think Edgerrin Cooper ran the 4.55, and then he turned out, ran after Edgerrin Cooper, and was determined to have the be faster than Edgerrin Cooper. You know what I'm saying? And I know I like Edgerrin Cooper, but man, Dallas Turner really showed me, like, because it just seemed like the whole Bama thing, player thing, has kind of like not like it was, right? I mean, they don't have
They
the
had bad.
most.
They had bad reps, like
Yeah,
USC players going to
yeah,
the college. And then, yeah, I got you.
you know what I'm saying. So
They
you know what I'm
working
saying,
now.
right? Hell yeah. So it just what I just like this draft, man. All the way around, and the one lineman, JPJ, that I was really high. I seen about 4 or 5 other guys I would take before him, and I was saying, dude
I
from
ain't going that
Oregon,
far, man.
dude from Oregon is like the dude. He, let me see. Oh man, go ahead. Until until I find
um,
it. Um,
I'm a,
JC. Oh, here, JC
yeah.
Latham,
Oh, from
Tyler Guy.
Alabama.
Yeah, I told you I like all 3 of the TCU boys. Brandon Coleman, Cooper Beebe first, like you said. Cooper, you turned me on to Cooper Beebe, Brandon Coleman, Andrew Coker. Those guys are all could be first round picks in my opinion. Damn near second round, the other 2 guys, and then Garrett Greenfield. That's the guy I wanted to tell you. From South Dakota State, Garrett Greenfield. That's another guy that, if anybody watching, take a look at him. Super athletic. Can get up the field or running the ball. Because I want to keep that same identity too. Well, I think that some players we might like, or I might like, and they might not necessarily fit what we trying to do too. So I try to make sure I'm picking the right guys that fit our system. You know what I'm saying? Because I want a guy who can still be a road grader, like they always say. Like, you know what I'm saying, Walt? That's a good run blocker, because we need to keep that identity. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's number one overall. We
Yeah.
we know exactly that's the bloodline of what our offensive philosophy is. So,
Mhm.
as an offensive lineman, whether you're a guard, center, or a tackle, you got to be able to run block. I think that's every offensive line. Like if you got an offensive lineman that can't run block, unless you just one hell of a left tackle or one hell of a right tackle, you're not gonna last too long. But to go back to Dallas Turner, man, violent. And I'm gonna say this: we talked about him and comparing him to Will Anderson from a year ago.
Oh boy.
He's way
Yeah.
more athletic than like
Way
naturally
more.
physically gifted than Will. And I'm not gonna say he's the same. He's the best. He's the better player.
Yeah.
But I will say this: one hang up that a lot of people had about Will Anderson from a year ago was the fact that they felt like so many of the sacks that he accumulated at Alabama were manufactured through the defense. And when you go back, you watch the film, I can understand that. I'm not going to fault a player because his defensive coordinator put him in position to be successful. Like when he was there at Alabama, yeah, they got him a lot of free runs. Why wouldn't I do that for my edge rusher? You want me to just line him up with his hand in the dirt consistently and just take on tackles all day? We saw what happened to Will Anderson a year ago when he was matched up against Darnell Wright. Like Darnell Wright gave him a ton of problems. But I think he went to a good situation in Houston with D'Amico Ryans, former Alabama linebacker, who knew everything about Will Anderson that he needed to know. And what did he do? He took Will, he turned Will into the defensive rookie of the year. But when I look at Dallas Turner, I see more physical gifts. He's faster. I think body-wise, tight-wise, he's a little bigger than Will Anderson is. Will has longer arms, I believe. And then, like I said, just physically, when you look at, he wins more one-on-ones than Will Anderson won a year ago, or in pretty much in his career at Alabama. So the question about, well, is his sacks being manufactured and this and that? That's BS with him. Like Dallas Turner this past season was winning a ton of one-on-ones. There was no pass rushes manufactured by a bunch of stunts left, stunts right, end arounds and this and that. Like they lined him up, him and Chris Braswell. They lined those dudes up on the edge and told them to go get the quarterback. So when you look at us, yeah, we got a Derek Barnes. Yeah, we got an Alex Anzalone. Yes, we spent the first round pick just last year on Jack Campbell. Yes, we got Malcolm Rodriguez. None of those dudes are special. Jack Campbell, can Jack be special? Perhaps. But there's nobody in that linebacker room that's going to stop me from taking Dallas Turner if Dallas Turner's on the board.
Damn
You're
right.
talking about a dude who's a potentially 15. Well, all of these dudes are potential coming into the league. But if you have an opportunity, and I think this is just me thinking about Brad Holmes, knowing how much they loved Will Anderson a year ago, if you have the opportunity to make things right this year and get damn near a Will Anderson clone.
Yep. Just the year to do it.
You take that. If Will Anderson was in this draft this year, you take Will Anderson. I don't care about Barnes and all them Alex Anzalone. You take Will Anderson and you figure it out.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Find a spot. Yeah. And then, like I said, the cream rise, that's what I'm saying about the Mosley thing. You know, the cream rise to the top. Y'all know that. When, you know, like you said, we got Malcolm Rodriguez. We got a lot of, you know, try hard guys. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to knock those guys. That's not what I'm doing. Kaminsky and you know, those guys. You need a different. This is what's separating us from winning this thing now. You know what I'm saying? We in a different space we ain't ever been in. Right. We need some game, not guys that's coachable, that's good guys that, you know, they gonna do everything they're told and, you know, not be a problem. You know, as far as like, you know what I'm saying, just choir boy type, you know what I'm saying? Just like you don't have to, you know, worry about him doing this.
We need Allen Iverson in the locker room. Huh?
Yeah, we need a dog. We need somebody who a dog, who, hey, y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? A guy that's gonna go in there and it's going to be hell to pay. A nightmare to deal with. Just like we, you know, just think about this past season. You know, we played against teams like, you know, like the Rams. Like what made the Rams game so dangerous, because even though Aaron Donald is not the Aaron Donald maybe from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we said, oh, well, damn, they got Aaron Donald. You know what I'm saying? Because he's made a net, you know, to make you scared as hell when you play the Rams. Because Aaron Donald, we've seen him do it. We've seen him damn near win the Super Bowl for him. So that's what I'm saying. We need that type of player, not a Josh Pascal, not a guy that's gonna, you know, be good. Maybe
another rotational guy.
Right. We need a guy that's gonna be a difference maker. So I think that this draft is so key, and I think Lions fan could get excited, and I think, you know, you could talk about the combine and think about the possibilities, because man, you know, just looking at, like you said, Dallas Turner, even Chris, like you said, Chris Braswell is a guy smooth as hell. It just seems like it just comes natural to him to be you know, on the attack, you know, that type of thing. I like guys like that, you know what I'm saying? Upright too. He doesn't get pushed back too many times. You know what I'm saying? A guy who can force the issue. You know, I like that too. Kind of aggressive. I like him too as a player. You know what I'm saying, on defense. It's another guy what I want people to kind of take a look at linebacker is Tyrese Knight from UTEP. It's another guy, fast as hell. He was 4.55 in a 40-yard dash. Another guy also ran a 4.55 is Jordan McGee from Temple. You know what I'm saying? They said the local from
Very
Philly, I think,
athletic.
yeah, very athletic. People from Philly, Philly, that Temple is in Philly, and I think they really like him. They had Darren Sproles, their scout. I seen him in the crowd a couple times. People looking at these guys. Speed is going to be the equalizer. Or you getting drafted maybe in the first 100 picks, or not being drafted. You know what I'm saying? I really believe that it's getting to that point now. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy like receiver wise, Xavier Liggett from South Carolina Walt receiver,
Yeah.
fast
Yeah.
as hell. Almost built like, don't kill me, everybody, for saying, built like Tyreek Hill a little bit. That's what he remind me when he was running.
Like a bigger Tyreek Hill.
Be like a bigger Tyreek Hill. Yup, Xavier Liggett. And I did probably 7 or 8 mock drafts in the last 2 weeks because I'm addicted to it. And he's been there for the Lions. Like every time I picked, and it was time to pick a receiver, 3rd, 4th round, Xavier Liggett's there. So that might be another guy, Lion fans might want to get familiar with him. So
Yeah.
what would you say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, go
what
ahead.
would you say about the receiver class? Like, I want to know your opinion. Like, tell me, like, who stood out, like receiver wise, when you like. And let me ask you this way: like, is this class better than last year? The receiver class.
Trying to think who was at the top of last year's class.
Was it
Who was at the top of last year's class?
Jalen Hyatt?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Remember,
You're right. Yeah, yeah,
remember the
yeah,
Giants took Jalen
yeah.
Hyatt.
Well, the thing is, Hyatt it wound up falling to the 3rd round. I
Yeah.
believe 2nd or 3rd round. Yeah, yeah. Just thinking about that alone, considering the fact that, and I like Hyatt, and that's my dogs barking. Yeah, I like Hyatt, but it's the fact that he was considered the best wide receiver in last year's class, which was the problem. So no, I would definitely go with this class over last year's class.
Yeah.
What do you think about the receiver class?
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna just say this. Like Xavier Worthy, I think I even posted on my Facebook page. I was blown away by him running a 4.22. That don't necessarily mean Worthy can catch, but I do believe he's more of a playmaker than like J-Mo is. I mean, no slight against J-Mo. J-Mo made a lot of big plays for Alabama, but I think Xavier Worthy is gonna come more natural to him to be a receiver. You know what I'm saying? Out the gate. You know what I mean? I don't think that you could so some guys just got God-given talent that you really don't have to like show them how to be a receiver. Like J-Mo, I think he's turning into that. You know what I'm saying? I think that I think Roy put Neighbors. I like Malik Neighbors. I like him a lot. I like all 3 guys from Washington. I like all those guys. Donze, McMillan, Jalen Polk. I think that I like Donze more. So Polk is more of a project to me than the other 2 guys. That's how I would rate it. You know what I'm saying? Xavier Liggett. I also like what's the kid from LSU? And now I wouldn't be upset. Now don't kill me, everybody, for saying this. I would take Brian Thomas 29, bro. Brian Thomas Jr. I would take him number 29. He's that good. You know what I'm saying? He's a guy that just you can't coach what he has. He has something the other receivers on our team don't have, and he's got that it. He's reminded me of AJ Brown a little bit, and nobody on our
And there's
team
about
has.
7 receivers in this class that got some stuff that the receivers on our on our roster don't have.
That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? No slight against St. Brown, none of those guys. It's just, man, we looking for a home run. We not looking. Think about it, y'all. We only need probably we got what? How many picks? 7, 8 picks in this draft. We need about 5 guys who can play, that can ball out. That you know what I'm saying. And the minute they step on the field, you ain't gotta worry about him making the team. Remember Jack Campbell? Remember we was like, damn, Jack Campbell ain't even starting in preseason. But I think you get, I'm glad you put that up, partner. The first 4 picks, So you see, so right now we got 4 out of the first 92. Damn, the last 3 picks. I think we just got a hit on the first 4, and I think we good, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, however, whatever need you want to put those in, I think offensive line becomes an issue because we could lose Jonah Jackson. That's the only thing that's going to mess up like what we're trying to do, because now a starting tackle to replace Jonah Jackson walk becomes a priority right now. And number 29 could be that spot for that. You know what I'm saying? And people will go berserk if that happened. Think about it. If Chris Braswell's on the board, if Byron Murphy's on the board, Tavonde Sweat's on the board, and we pass and we take a offensive lineman, which me and you say, I wouldn't hate it, but I'm telling you, people are going to go crazy, man, if that happens. You know what I'm saying? It just, you can't. You got to look at your team for every angle. You want to keep up the run game. You want to keep up what made us so good during last season and made us a factor because we was able to run the ball on anybody. Think about that. Everybody can't say that. Every team can't say, well, we run the ball on damn near anybody we play. We gonna run the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I think the Lions want to keep that MO. You know what I'm saying? To be able to do it.
So, Orlando had a few comments back. Any Michigan players you guys like?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say this. I think.
Good question.
I think Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson are 2 completely different wide receivers that provide 2 completely different skill sets. I think Cornelius did himself a solid over the past week because heading into this combine, he measured out 6'3", 212, hand size 8 inches and 5/8, which is pretty small. That's the knock that they did mention about him. 4'4", 440, 37.5 inch vert. He showed the explosion that they didn't think he had. Now, you and I, of course, being here in Detroit, we've seen every single Michigan game that he's played for the most part. Yeah. Talking about a dude who's 6'3", 212. He made all the spectacular catches. We give Roman Wilson a whole lot of credit. Everybody loves the small, fast guy, shifty, slot explosive. Cornelius Johnson, I can see some teams favoring him over Roman simply because once you start talking about second round picks, Roman ain't the first. Cornelius ain't the first. I think once you start talking about that next batch of wide receivers, probably guys maybe 7 on back, number 7 wide receiver on back. I can see some teams in the second round, mid-second round, taking a flyer on Cornelius over Roman simply because I think at the end of the day, there's still that big wide receiver bias that floats around the NFL. And same thing with Brian Thomas. I'm not a big Brian Thomas fan at all. Like it's a lot of stuff I see for him. He reminds me a little bit, even though he was more productive, way more productive than this other guy. Your boy from Terrace Marshall.
Oh, played for Carolina.
Remember when Terrace Marshall came out? Terrace Marshall ran the 4.39. Supposedly, he was around that same height, weight, wingspan, same type of skill set wise of a wide receiver. And when you went back and watched the film, there were same issues to him that there were with Thomas.
Yeah.
Like when you watch him on film and you compare him to Malik Neighbors, there's no comparison. Malik plays more like St. Brown.
Yeah.
He's a physical, aggressive receiver. He runs all of his routes all out. You can't tell when the play is going to be a run play or a pass play. You can't tell when he's going to get the ball. When you watch Brian Thomas on film, you can tell when he's not getting the ball. He jogs off the line of scrimmage. When it's a blocking play, when it's a running play, he's kind of half-hearted with that. To me, he doesn't seem to be all there. Now, does that mean that he can't get with a solid organization, wide receiver coach, and bring him out of that? It's possible.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I would risk that with him at 29, but to stay with the Michigan players, I think Mike Sainristil, he made himself some money.
I like Mikey.
He ran faster than a lot of people thought he would run as well.
Yep.
Blake tested the way we thought Blake would test. Now, how do you feel about him? They made a valid comparison about Blake to Devontae Freeman. I know you remember Devontae
Yeah,
Freeman
from
from
the
the Atlanta
Falcons.
Falcons. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yep.
exactly same height, same type. Even though I think Blake has more of that Maurice Jones-Drew
Yeah, the
body type.
big.
Now he's not as
Yep.
thick as Jones is, as dense as Jones-Drew was, but same type of body type. I think
Yeah.
Blake is going to be. He's going to be a solid piece
Solid.
in somebody's somebody's running back stable. So I
Yeah, I
think
like
Blake
Blake
made
Coleman.
himself some money. I think Cornelius made himself some money.
I
Some
like
of the
Junior
linemen,
Colson. I like Junior
yeah.
Colson. You know what I'm saying? A linebacker. Walt. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say Junior Colson is a guy that I had pegged. And then two, but Sanders still was. I was going to say number one, but on that offensive line, I'm thinking about a guy like Mike Nugent. You know what I mean? Maybe a late round pick. But I think he showed a lot of foot speed to me. A lot of lateral. You know, he can move from side to side really well. I don't know if he's a guard. Is he more of a guard or? Yeah, I think Nugent is a guard if I'm not mistaken. But what I'm saying is, I think overall, Chris Jenkins is a guy. I'm not high on Chris Jenkins, but I think he did himself a solid too, Walt. I think he did perform. I think his second 40-yard dash, he performed better the second time. So, and then he did the drills really well. I mean, his balance was up. You know what I'm saying? Stamina was up. I like Chris Jenkins. Maybe not as some other D tackles, but I do think I've seen Chris Jenkins as a number first round draft pick. I've seen him as high as like 16 to the Seahawks.
I don't.
I wouldn't
I
take
like
him.
Chris, and this is me and you, because not to say nobody else will do this, but we're pretty much as open and honest about Michigan players and Michigan State players. Now, we haven't had many Michigan State players to talk about over the past couple of years as far as the draft, other than Kenneth Walker year before last. But
Yeah,
we're as honest about Michigan players as it can get. Now, I love Will Johnson. Will probably will be a top 10 pick next year, but Will ain't in this draft though. I think Chris Jenkins was overblown a little bit, similar to how Kwity Paye was year before last. Same similar body type. You hear about these guys being on this Feldman's freaks list, just like not Kwity, but Mozzie from a year ago.
That was my guy last year.
And Mozzie struggled. Mozzie struggled in Dallas with that role over there. Everyone knew Mozzie was going to need some time, though.
Yeah,
Mozzie was raw. Mozzie was raw. Hopefully, Mozzie will have a solid second year in the league. But yeah, it's like 6'2", roughly 290. Not much pass rush value. Granted, you could take on some double teams in college and make some plays in college, but I don't see more than just maybe another rotational defensive lineman in the league for Chris Jenkins, being honest. Hey man, what's up, Greg? Greg got a comment. I'm gonna post this comment without even reading it first. Says Walter Stringer, hope all is well off topic, but I was just told on my post by two of you U of M fans, U of M JJ is better than Caleb. I'm exhausted. Man, I don't want to go down that road at all. But that's a good segue to Caleb Williams, man, because we did discuss Caleb Williams' interview. If the Detroit Lions, and this question goes out to everybody listening right now. Answer in the comment section. As Lions fans, if you had the number 1 overall pick and we needed a quarterback, who would you take? Because I like Caleb Williams. I'm going to be 100% honest about Caleb right now. I think he's the most. There's a certain thing about him that you don't want to be wrong about. I think people look at his personality, and you and I both agreed, personality-wise, he's not for us. That's just the way it is. I'm not sure if his personality is going to work in the city of Chicago, honestly. But the boy's talented. You can't ignore how talented he really is. You just got to hope he ends up in the right situation. He needs a disciplined organization, and that's a big reason why I think I'm not hoping anybody fails. I don't want anybody to fail. I just don't see how this is going to work, this marriage between him and Eberflus and the Chicago organization and that fan base is going to work out. at all.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Drake May fan. I've watched every single play, every game Drake May's had at North Carolina. I see a lot of Trevor Lawrence in him, a lot of inconsistencies in ball placement with the accuracy. Um, it's strange with him when you go back 2 years ago, and I said this, it came across to me like when he was coming out 3 years ago, it was like pulling teeth to get people to be honest about what they really saw for him, because sometimes as analysts and scouts, we get caught up in who we've been told this guy is for 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Sort of like the Arch Manning effect. Like, we haven't seen the damn thing from Arch Manning, but everybody assumes he's the best thing since sliced bread. Like, the Mannings are doing the best job ever of selling that young man. But I don't know. Like, even JJ better than Caleb. I'm gonna say this. I think Caleb did himself a disservice over this weekend, and I think JJ is one of the biggest winners, because JJ looked around and said, "Oh, you guys, Drake, you not talking, you not throwing. Caleb, you not talking, you not throwing. I'll throw. Hey, I'm willing to talk, everybody."
Yeah.
And I think he won a lot of people over this weekend. They already knew he was a winner, and he's so young, and he was able to run that Michigan offense under Harbaugh perfectly. So for teams looking at him that say, this boy got a live arm, he athletic, he mobile,
Yeah.
he led a winning program. He played under Jim Harbaugh for 3 years, so you know he's pretty much pro ready. So if it was up to me, I would probably take Jayden Daniels. Just being honest about it, I think Jayden's the safest. He's had pro coaching his entire college career. He was under Herm Edwards and Antonio Pierce. He's had pro coaching in high school.
Yeah.
I just think he's the most pro ready right now. If you look at LSU quarterbacks, haven't had the most success aside from Burrow, but I think he's the most physically gifted that's came through there aside from Joe Burrow. And that's a very wide receiver, quarterback friendly offense that they have at LSU. How about yourself?
Yeah, I listen. I think Caleb Williams got a world of talent. I'm telling you, he does, but he rubs me the wrong way. But that doesn't mean he's not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't like what I see. I don't like the body language. I don't like the me and I'm the lottery ticket and y'all like everybody coming for me. That type of thing. You know what I'm saying? You could be that. You could listen. You could talk shit, but you better be good. You better. Hey, Deion talk a lot of shit, right? But he backed it up.
Deion was also a corner.
But what I'm saying
this boy
is,
coming in as a quarterback.
You talk that, you better be good, bro. That's all I'm saying. I'm just telling you now. I'm glad this year the Lions don't have to take quarterback, because I don't know. I think kind of what Greg said a little bit about somebody saying Jay, it's not that far-fetched to me. I know I maybe hold JJ in higher esteem than you do. I don't know, but I think it's a reason why the NFL scouts are saying that this guy's a first-round pick. I don't think it's like far-fetched at all by saying JJ McCarthy's going to be a first-round pick. I just think that we got fooled because we think that he can't throw. I think Twan just said it. I think he is accurate. I think the accuracy can be better. You know what I'm saying? Antoine's right. You know what I'm saying? The accuracy wasn't there, but I think it was a lot of times where Roman had to go up over two guys with one hand just to get a hand on the ball. I get exactly what A-Dub's talking about. He's right. But I think that can be fixed. I think NFL receivers can get open to where it'll make it look like it's easier than it should be. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to it, I think Caleb Williams, like you said, he got that type of personality where he got to go to the right team, man, because that ain't gonna fly in a lot of locker rooms. I'm gonna just tell you right now, like I'm here, I'm the number one pick, and everybody want me. The owner wanted me, y'all coach wanted me, the fans wanted me. That's how he is. That type of guy.
It's a lot riding on this pick, especially for Lincoln Riley too. Because let's be honest, we talked about this earlier in the college season. Lincoln Riley's quarterbacks don't have the best reputation, bro. Like if we being honest about it, between Spencer Rattler, Kyler
Yeah.
Murray, Caleb
Baker.
Williams,
Didn't Baker play under him too?
yeah, Baker, and
Mhm.
Jalen Hurts. Out of all of
Mhm.
those quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts is the only one that seems to be like well grounded and down to earth.
Yeah.
All the rest of these dudes seem to be a little aloof, a little arrogant. And like I said, when I listen to Caleb, man, there's a lot of this type of athlete in him that I see. And whether it's cross the sports, you're talking about
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving and Aaron Rodgers, and just one of those type of personalities that isn't going to necessarily mesh well with everybody. I think that's
Yeah.
what it is, man. But there's something about Lincoln Riley and those quarterbacks because they all had the same type of character issues coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being
And for
honest,
him
now
to
Spencer Rattler though he's a little different. I want to
Mhm.
give Spencer a chance because I wouldn't want anyone to hold me at 22 years old to the same person I was when I was 19.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah. And I think, and like I said, a lot of it is, we're the master of judging people right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? So if a guy doesn't really like what we say, or if we say he's kind of now, which he is, I told you I ain't a Caleb Williams fan. He just ain't my type of dude. That just flat out. I don't like the stuff that I've seen. But like I said, that doesn't take away the talent is there. I can see he can throw in a run, can do all that. If I had to pick a guy, somebody mentioned Wilson. I love Penix, but I don't think Penix ready per se just yet. He got a monster arm. Him and Joe Milton probably got two of the best arms in the draft. But
Milton got the best arm ever.
yeah,
he got created player arm out there, man.
But he might not even get drafted, bro. You know what I'm saying, Joe?
Oh no,
Milton.
somebody gonna take Joe Milton. You know
think
why?
so?
Because he can throw the football 3 miles.
Yeah.
Joe Milton's. You have to have some sort of freakish elite trait.
Yeah.
Milton has the biggest arm in the entire class.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, like I said, Jaden, if I had to pick, I think Jaden Daniels, like you said, is more ready. I was really high on Drake May at the beginning of this season. While before this season played, I was like, Drake May is the best quarterback in the draft. I mean, best quarterback in college football before the season started. But like you said, as the season went on, then it started to change. You know what I mean? Because I really thought like last year, I'm like, man, Drake May, I ain't nobody touching Drake May, bro. Like, come on, the season he had last year, and then he lost a lot of his weapons. He did. It seemed like their running game was still damn near the same, but he did lose some weapons, it seems. And my thing is this: if you're a franchise type quarterback, you got to be able to make it happen with whoever you go out there with. And Drake May just didn't do that to me this year. Do that for me this year. So he kind of fell. I do think he's got some talent though, man. I think it's something
No, he
there.
does.
You know what I mean? I don't think it's just like, automatically he's a bum now. I don't believe that either. It's just these guys got to go to the right
I
spot.
think it's overrated. I think I think the big issue with him that I see with a lot of the people around the draft world who are really, really pounded the table for Drake May, a lot of them are people who were wrong on Josh Allen and wrong on Justin Herbert. And I think sometimes when these draft analysts are wrong about players, they just double and triple down on the next guy with the comparisons. Like a lot of those people who didn't like Josh Allen, didn't like Justin Herbert, they're all directly making the Drake May comparisons, which I think is silly. I don't think Drake May has the physical attributes of Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. But it's almost as if a lot of these people feel like, well, I was wrong about Josh Allen. I was wrong on Justin Herbert, but I'm not gonna miss the boat on this Drake May kid. I'm gonna land this one right here. And I don't think he's ready to play. I think out of all the top guys we talked about so far, Jaden Daniels and Caleb, I think, even Bo Nix. I'm not the biggest Bo Nix fan in the world. I'm pretty biased. I'm biased. I'm biased as hell against Bo Nix based off what I saw for 3 years at Auburn, for that matter. But I got questions about Bo Nix. But you're looking at a guy who can lead a pro offense, I believe, in Bo Nix, and he's a mid-range assassin. If you can get Bo Nix to throw the ball downfield a little bit more, I think you might have something. But with Drake May, I think out of all these guys, I think Penix and Bo Nix, the reason people aren't really high on them is the age. That's just how it is. People are biased against deemed as old quarterbacks, and Jay Daniels is deemed as old too. But I think Drake is like the most flawed out of all of them.
Yeah, I think if Bo Nix, put it this way, bro, if Bo Nix played for like, let's see, Carolina. I mean, not Carolina. They got Bryce
Right,
Young.
damn, already.
No, not Carolina. Not Carolina. Not Carolina. Damn. If they, oh boy, I'm trying to think of one team you can. I'm just saying, insert him into a team that's kind of ready to win. Tennessee. Let's go there.
Ready to win? Well, I mean,
I think Bo Nix, if he went to Tennessee, that team would be better. Flat out.
You think they giving up on old boy Will Levis? Will Levis got a lot of talent too.
He do. That was my guy last year too. I don't know. I like Bo Nix, man. I think he got a world of talent. I think
Roy
that
posted
people
Tampa.
really, one of those guys is going to be like a guy. Yeah, Roy. I agree too. That's another team that's kind of ready, and you just give him a quarterback. You don't have to do much. He got the receivers already. But I think it's a good class. I really do. I just think that you got to work with him, though. Any quarterback, well, you know, the damn outlier, Andrew Luck's one in a 15 years, bro. You know what I'm saying? Andrew Luck had the rookies. You know what I'm saying? That's a guy that you can
CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud, right? You'll never see that. You know what he did. You know, for a while. You know what I'm saying? Guys that just,
the problem is people chasing it now.
Yeah, and right, and two, it used to be. Remember, you take a quarterback and it don't work out, it would set your franchise back. Remember, you brought up Josh Rosen during the pre-show. They remember they knew they whiffed on him, and then
he got the Caleb Williams personality.
Yeah, yep, same thing. Yep, you called it, and I think it's exactly right. But I do think the running game is instituted where now you could kind of be patient. You don't have to. You could play a rookie quarterback and it work out. Like, I think that would make CJ Stroud so effective, because you got a guy that, not that you're taking the ball out of his hands, but you could just have a running game and just be able to just make life easier. You know what I'm saying? Where you don't have to go out there and throw the ball 40 times, and win it by yourself. Like Bryce Young, I felt bad for Bryce, man, because
Atlanta tried that last year with Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, Ridder terrible.
They tried it. They tried to run the football. And they tried. Arthur Smith was terrible too, but
yeah, he got the coach fired. Hey, Desmond Ridder is terrible, bro. He a backup. He a career backup. That's what I see. But I seen it coming out of the draft, but he just, by default, I think he wound up getting a spot. I thought Taylor Heineke was going to be the quarterback, but he didn't take the job like that. But remember, everybody liked him in Washington. We was fooled because they made it to the playoffs, remember? And everybody liked Taylor Heineke. Went to Atlanta and didn't even start. That type of thing. So, yeah.
So I mean, he was good in comparison to Carson Wentz. Similar to how like Mike White was the backup in the Jets to Zach Wilson, and in comparison to Zach Wilson, he was great. But in all actuality, him and Heineke are nothing but like career backups. I think Atlanta has to solve that quarterback position overall, man. Somebody said something. Greg, I think Greg had a comment about listen, Josh Rosen. Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. He's going to be better than Josh Rosen, I guess. But I think there's a lot of personality quirks when it comes to Caleb in comparison to Josh Rosen. There's a lot, when you listen to a lot of his interviews, he comes across as, I'm never wrong on anything. He has a lot of smug, snide comments in response to everything, and it's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. We discussed about him not throwing and only interviewing with certain teams. At the end of the day, you're hindering yourself, because what if somebody towards the back end of the first round really likes you and they plan on trading up for you? Well, he's not even disclosing medicals to certain teams. Like, this is getting kind of silly now, man. We even had Marvin Harrison not do anything at the combine. So now it's like we at a point where it seems to me like the agents have more control over the combine than the players do, or even the NFL does. Because now they're just getting in these kids' voices, and they're getting in their minds, telling them to not do this, not do that, run the 40, but don't run the 20-yard shuttle, and don't do the bench press, but do the vertical. So it's like that's why I respect guys who did everything. A guy we're gonna talk about in a second, Cooper Beebe. Cooper Beebe did every damn event at the combine.
Yeah.
That was asked of him. And just being honest about it, bro, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's a job interview, man. To be that arrogant to say, you don't need to see me throw. You seen me throw on film enough.
Right.
Come on, man. Hey, listen. I do want to get back to this, man, for 1 second, though. One guy that I think probably had maybe the best defensive performance from a defensive lineman in the combine that we've seen in the last few years, man, and that's Braden Fisk of Florida State. You talking about a dude who?
Oh boy, yeah.
6'4". He measured in at a legit 6'4", 297. 297. I'm expecting him to be somewhere probably around 310. Got that Quinnen Williams and Ndamukong Suh stocky type body.
Oh man, he a beast.
Nobody expected him. He's a guy who the film matched what you saw at the combine completely. You talking about for a dude, and this is all his numbers. He finished first in the 40, first in the 20-yard shuttle, first in the broad jump, first in the vertical, and he had the third best 10-yard split out of all defensive tackles.
Yeah.
And then you get the effort. It's very rare, and I made a comment about this on social media a couple of days ago. It's very rare that you find a defensive tackle with his type of athleticism and effort. Yeah. You don't run across it that often. Now, for Detroit, you ain't getting him at 29 now. That ain't happening. So if you want a guy like Braden Fisk, you could probably have to trade up. But what was your thoughts on Braden Fisk combine?
Oh boy, I remember I texted you Saturday when I seen the workout. I was like, bro, through the roof.
And I like all those Florida State guys. I like, Lovett. I like obviously both like Jared Verse. The running back Trey Benson's a dog. They got another linebacker. I can't think of the top of my head that I like too. Anyways, Brandon Fisk is a beast, man. He's like one of the top 15 players in his draft. I mean, along with his teammate, Jared Verse. Florida State has some dogs in their squad. I could see why they were so good. They played in a crappy conference, but Braden, the measurables, just the ability. You can't move this guy, man. This guy's you know what I'm saying? You cannot move. One man can't move this guy. You know what I'm saying? It would be really man. How could I put it? Like if the Lions could somehow get him, it would be like just an impact player that we've been talking about. You know what I'm saying? The guy that could change, everything about our defense, you know what I'm saying, which we're looking for. He's everything you would want, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, like I said, I expect him to be in the top. Now, if he gets into the 20s, it'd be interesting, Walt. Like, would Brad Holmes trade to get him? And I think he's a guy I would trade second round this year, second round next year, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to get him. It wouldn't take much.
Possible though? If you start talking about wide receivers coming off the board, quarterbacks coming off the board, maybe tackles coming off the board, corners.
Yeah.
For a defensive tackle that's not a 14, 15 sack guy, he's a high pressure guy though.
Yeah.
Now we don't know what he can become at the next level. He's not a flawless product. I think if you look at, and this is what I don't get about a lot of these guys teaching wise, what they go through in college, because you would think he came from Central Michigan, not Central Michigan. He came from Western Michigan. He was a dominant player at Western Michigan, transferred to Florida State against better competition. And that's what I like to see from a lot of these guys. Do you get better when you transfer to a bigger conference against better competition? And for everybody that doesn't understand what we mean when we talk about how big of a difference maker Braden Fisk is, you can go find it on YouTube, more than likely. Go watch his highlights against against LSU. or just go back and watch the game overall against LSU. I understand it was a high-scoring game for the most part, but he gave LSU's offensive line on the interior issues, double teams, triple teams. Like there was no blocking him, which enabled Jared Verse and all those other guys to eat. Now, is it possible he could be there at 22, 23? There's not as much hype around him right now as it was a guy like Quinnen Williams the year Quinnen came out, because I think Quinnen was more polished as an interior pass rusher right now. Right now, Braden is bigger, stronger, more aggressive. He's just a guy who's willing to get the job done overall. And the athleticism and the explosion is there. Now, can we get him to develop at least 2 or 3 interior pass rush moves so that way he's not just trying to bull rush his way through everybody? That can work. But if you're talking about hand size, arm length, if you look at the shuttles, you look at the 40, the bench press was solid as well. Now, granted, he didn't do it 30 times or whatnot. He did it at an adequate spot. You look at the numbers he did. So is he a guy that's probably on Brad Holmes' watch list? I'm sure. I'm definitely sure. But I do think he's the best defensive tackle in his class right now.
Yeah, and I was wrong. I mean, he's not going to be in the first 15 because if he is in the top 15, it would be, dude, it would be some players really getting passed over, which I don't think that's going to happen. So I misspoke there. It is a possibility to get this guy, especially in the first round. It depends on what do you like? I mean, as far as like, I mean, I'm even messing around with just doing a mock draft as I'm talking to you, right? And I mean, and Braden Fisk. I mean, I took Devontae Sweat, my first pick, and Brandon Fisk was way down, like in the list of like best available. So he's a guy that could even be there in the second round. You know what I'm saying? Late in the second round, something like that. So. Yeah, I like him. I think sometimes that just goes to show you right there. Sometimes we may fall in love with the workout more so than like what the player really is. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, and yeah, so that this was an eye opener right here to show me like kind of where he stacks up. But yeah, I mean he's a guy I definitely would take. You know what I'm saying, Walt? Because that's what we need. That's the kind of guy that would feel and do multiple things. And that's another guy that I kind of was disappointed in, to answer your question about Constant and Chop Robinson. Not Chop Braylon Trice from Washington. He was another guy. Seemed like he was stumbling around out there. You know what I'm saying? Sort of looked kind of uncoordinated to me. I don't know. Maybe he had a bad day. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I was kind of like Trice
Dropped
was a
too
guy.
much weight.
Yeah, it was like Trice was a guy. I was like, okay, that's the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. That might be the ticket, but not no more. I don't know. I'm kind of. We'll see. We'll see. And maybe pro day he might be better, but we'll see.
Come on, man. He the same guy you saw on film.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't like the fact that he lost so much weight. Him and Byron Murphy lost weight just so they could post better numbers at the combine. And
yeah,
I don't know, man.
Jeremy, see what I see. He was terrible in that hoop drill. He was stumbling around big time. I didn't like that. It was uncoordinated as hell. You know who did do, speaking of Western Michigan, was Marshawn Nealon, bro. Marshawn Nealon really helped himself. I want everybody. That kid a possibility, athletic as hell. I like Marshawn Nealon from Western Michigan. You know what I'm saying? A guy that may be a menace on the right team, man. You can just tell he's born to be a pass rusher. You know what I'm saying? And he may not have all the measurables. That guy in the right scheme can cause some havoc, can raise some havoc. It was another linebacker, Walt. Now that I'm doing this mock, I told you I'm addicted to it now. Cedric Gray from North Carolina. I don't know if you know him too. Cedric Gray ran good.
Football player. Been at North Carolina for like 12 years.
Yeah.
It seemed like Cedric been there for a while. Cedric is an undersized football player.
Yeah, he ran
very good football player though.
Yeah, he ran 4.6. Another guy, a couple sleepers, guys that I wrote down.
And I'm gonna ask you, do you like one of these guys too? Because I never asked you this, but I'm staying with the linebacker. I think linebacker's strong as hell in this draft. What about Khalid Duke from Kansas State? He didn't run good though. He ran a 4.8. That's kind of too slow for me, for my liking, for a linebacker. Caleb Duke, and then Easton Gibbs from Wyoming. Wyoming. He ran a 4.7 tackling machine at the University of Wyoming. People, you want to look him up, go Easton Gibbs is another guy. And then what about this guy? Well, another linebacker was talking about Florida State was Kalen DeLoach. How you like? Hey, Kalen DeLoach small as hell though. I don't know. He 5'11". I didn't know he was that small.
I compare this Florida State defense, which was a very good defense this past year, similar to the Clemson defense from a good 4+ years ago. That defense that had Dexter Lawrence in the middle, Christian Wilkins, Cleveland Farrell, and people couldn't figure out who was the best player on that defense.
Yeah.
I tried to tell people back then that Dexter Lawrence was the best player on that defense, and he proved at the next level to be the best player on that defense. Now, Christian Wilkins is a good, solid 3-tech.
Yeah, he good too. Yeah.
He's solid. He's solid. But
yep.
Marshawn Nealon in the 3rd round would be fantastic. I agree with that completely. I want to bring up another linebacker though, a guy that's I'm not so sure now, seeing how they felt about a guy from last year and passed on him. He reminds me a whole lot of Drew Sanders from a year ago, and that's Peyton Wilson of NC State.
NC State, yeah, he ran
same height,
yeah,
pretty much same body type. Long, both of those dudes got like these basketball player type bodies, safety type bodies, tall guys, rangy, athletic. Peyton ran, what'd he do? Peyton ran 4.43.
Yeah,
4.43, had a 34.5-inch vert, 9.11 broad jump, baby. Yeah, 9.11 broad jump, and he had a 1.5 for a 10-yard split, which tied him for first with I think 4 or 5 other linebackers. So he made himself a ton of money. Now, the thing with guys like him, he's a tweener.
Yeah.
You know, can he be an every down linebacker? Is somebody going to draft Peyton and try to turn him into a Mike? Are they going to turn him into an off-ball linebacker? Is someone going to see him and try to add 15 pounds to him and make him an every down edge rusher? I think this is where a lot of these positional coaches earn their money.
Yeah.
Because this with a coach, I think coaching stops for a lot of these guys after high school when it comes to these coaches. And Mike Tomlin made a valid point about how NFL coaches are just too lazy and they don't want to coach. They expect all these dudes, that whether you're a 1st-round pick or you're a 7th-round pick, they expect all these dudes to come in ready-made to play.
Yeah.
Because they feel like, I'm in the NFL now. I don't have time to babysit you. I don't have time to groom you. That's how you miss out on potential diamonds in the rough. So I think a guy like Peyton Wilson, very physical player, has some injury issues. That's key. But I think Peyton Wilson's a guy who probably still won't go in the 1st round. But I think once the middle of the 2nd round starts to come, defenses that need a difference maker, I think he's a guy that could fit right into that mold for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Totally agree. What's your take on the running back position? Man, I think I texted you
Trey
Saturday.
Benson.
Yeah, Trey Benson's a beast.
Trey,
I really
the number
like
one
him.
back. He was my number one back all season. Still is.
Yeah. And I think that people say, well, why would you bring that up if we got Montgomery and Gibbs, right? Well, we got Montgomery for one more year. Remember, when the wheels come off, running back, the wheels come off. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think what we're lacking is a big body, physical running back. You know what I'm saying? I think, Montgomery's kind of a tweener. You know, he's kind of a herky-jerky. You know, he runs in between the tackles, but big, strong guy like we talk about Michigan State. You know, he transferred and went to Notre Dame. I like that Adric Estime. I think that kid, man, he gonna be a ball player. I wouldn't mind taking him real late in this draft.
if opportunity presented itself. I had Trey Benson down like you did. I really like Trey Benson. Hold on here. It was another guy that I seen the workout. Isaiah Davis.
There you go. That's your big backer right there.
Yeah.
6'2", 220.
Yeah. And then even Kendall Milton didn't look bad. I mean, Kendall Milton's kind of a good rock toter too. So those are just a couple of things. I don't think that, it's out of the question to think running back, some point in, not early.
Oh, yeah,
but,
later.
You know what I'm saying? Later in the draft. And maybe, because think about it, we got to keep this running back. I kind of like the run game how it is. I don't never want to shy away from that. And it's because of we need a guy that, since we got Goff as our quarterback, we got to have our running quarterback. We got to be tight with that. You know what I'm saying? So we need some dogs coming up. So
no, I agree with you 1,000%. We talk about that all the time. If it was left up to me, I would draft a running back every year. Whether it wouldn't be in the first round, but I would pick a running back at some point in time every year. That way you're not handcuffed to pay somebody. Now it's horrible. It might sound horrible the way running backs get treated now.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, and I think that was a big issue when it came down to drafting Gibbs, where Gibbs was drafted, because at the end of the day, you can just take a look around the NFL and how the running back position gets treated. Unless they just really plan on paying somebody, there's a good chance another 4 years, both of these running backs not going to be here. That's just how it is. Gibbs will probably still be here. We expect Gibbs to be that great of a player, that dynamic of a player. But when you draft a running back every year now, starting with this type of draft, piggyback off what you were just saying, you're talking about probably drafting somebody as a Montgomery clone who can do all the things that Montgomery can do. Preferably a bigger back, the guy that is pretty much money on 3rd and 1. Because look, at the end of the day, we have a really good offensive line. Do we need a Trey Benson? No. Do we need a Marshawn Lloyd, like a guy from USC? No. We can damn near plug almost any running back behind that offensive line to be successful. But I think a guy like Trey Benson earned himself a ton of money. 6 foot, 216, running that 4.39. He's built a lot like Breece Hall too. A lot like Breece Hall. I like Trey Benson. Benson, like I said, was my number 1 back all season. He won't be going to us for damn sure.
No,
but I could see a team like Kansas City that needs another offensive weapon. And I discussed this with somebody the other day. If I'm the Kansas City Chiefs and I have Patrick Mahomes at the top end of his prime, now's the time to start investing in those ancillary parts around him. Not necessarily saying that you got to take the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, but get you a young stud running back in there. Teams constantly talk about not drafting a running back in the first round and not drafting a running back in the top 20. When you're a team like the Chiefs, you can do it. Because they have the guy at quarterback, they have the guy at coach. They plan on bringing back a Chris Jones, I guess. They got pieces on defense. They had a top 5 defense a year ago.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is the type of guy that needs a workhorse. You give him a workhorse running back. That's why I was kind of big last year on them potentially trading up for Bijan Robinson or even Jahmyr Gibbs. But that was back at a point in time we thought Jahmyr Gibbs would fall all the way to Kansas City, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I love Trey Benson. A team like Dallas, who needs to get their running game ignited.
Yep, they need another running back bad. The Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yep, hell yeah. It's another guy. I always look at the Big Ten. We Big Ten guys too, and I look at a guy like he might not even get drafted. Maybe special teams guy, but he did not as fast linebacker. Aaron Casey from Indiana. That's another guy, measurable. He's got it, you know what I'm saying? Got the physicality, just not that fast. So therefore, he might be a relegated special teams, but that's another guy I keep my eye on too. I think I went over all my guys. Cedric Gray. I had Peyton Wilson on my list too. I just think in a whole walk. Oh, another guy, and I think you posted a article with this guy weeks back. Every mock draft I do, he's always there in the third or fourth round. Is Zach Frazier? Zach from West Virginia, center. He'll be. Maybe that might be Ragnall's backup. Coming up here. Zach Frazier, a damn good football player, man. From he like a former wrestling. I don't know if he's a wrestling champion, a state of West Virginia or something like that. I know I read something. He was a wrestler too. You know what I'm saying? And that's Dan Campbell all the way. A guy like that. You know what I'm saying, on the offensive line. So big, strong kid like that. So
What do you think the chances are they draft the center at some point in time? Because we talked about Bo Limmer from Arkansas in the pre-show. 39 reps at 225. Now he's 6'4", 302. And I told you, when I see 302 on a 6'4" frame for a center or a guard, I'm thinking I can get that 302 to 315. You can get him from 302 to 315, good weight, real quick.
yeah.
I like Bo Limmer a lot. Bo Limmer been slowly climbing up draft boards over the past few weeks. Somebody brought up Zach Zenner. I think, we bring up Zach Zenner a lot around here because he's a Michigan guy. Coming off the injury, do you want to kind of draft and stash a guy like Zenner that's possible? I'm not so sure Zenner is one of the top 3 or 4 centers overall in this draft, because a lot of times these centers don't translate to the next level if they don't have the requisite athleticism. We talk about Jackson Powers Johnson, the guy you just mentioned, Zach Frazier from West Virginia, Bo Limmer from Arkansas. These are all bigger, more athletic dudes, I think. Not to say that Zenner can't be that guy eventually moving forward, but I'm not so sure if he's really on the level of those other guys right there. But who else we got? Oh, man, so we didn't touch on something. The biggest story from the combine. So Xavier Worthy, man, and you brought up Xavier earlier. 4.21.
Whoo!
4.21.
My
Xavier,
goodness.
and it's weird, man. I think he's one of the more polarizing prospects at the receiver position in this class, because Xavier started this season probably in the preseason. He was somewhere. Some people had him top 15, top 20. He was a universal first round pick for most people. What I don't like from what that I do see for him at Texas, which ain't his fault, but what do? What do most teams do when they get a guy that's super fast? Screens, end arounds, slants all day.
In space.
Everything 10 yards and under. But boy, can he go track that football. I don't think he's just a fast guy like John Ross was.
Right.
At all. I think he's better than Marquise Brown. I'm just comparing him to like super fast guys who came out. Henry Ruggs, I thought was going to be a hell of a player until that bad night happened. But Henry Ruggs, Marquise Brown, who else is kind of like on that level? Even though he's taller than both of them. Xavier's 6 foot even.
Yeah.
And I think he's, like you said, he's a better football player. He's a better football player. What you think about Xavier Worthy?
Yeah, I told you. That's what I said. I didn't no slight against J-Mo. I think he's more receiver ready. You know what I'm saying? Well, I think he's like J-Mo's turning into that. That's my comparison, because I think they're a little bit of the same. But I think that he's a guy, Walt, that the speed, but he can play, he can play receiver. He is a receiver, you know what I mean? So I think that's going to fare well for him. I think he's going to have much success. Oh my goodness. I think that I could picture him. Just imagine if you give him to
Kansas
Mahomes.
City.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just imagine Mahomes, the possibility.
You see, Mahomes is tweeting about him.
Yeah.
After he ran that first 40, give that boy another Tyreek Hill. Well, there's only one Tyreek. Tyreek just built different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somewhere, just somewhere they can get the quiet as kept. He could be good in Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? Think about Buffalo kind of needs Gabe Davis kind of stale. The Stephon Diggs, he ready to punch Josh Allen anyway, so he might be out of there. So I can see a couple. What about I was gonna say maybe give Aaron Rodgers another weapon, but he got Garrett Wilson, who's a monster in himself. So
He's gonna be good. Xavier Worthy's gonna be good. Yes, Orlando said Ravens. That was the next team I was gonna say. They kind of need somebody
Another
else.
short, fast guy. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
man, I think Lamar needs a dude, man. I like Zay Flowers too.
yeah. I love Zay
I
Flowers.
think Lamar he needs a
Yeah.
legit dude, man. They tried the Odell Beckham Jr. experiment. They tried the what's your boy from Minnesota? They drafted out of Minnesota 2 years ago.
Rashad Bateman.
They tried the Rashad Bateman experiment. He can't stay healthy. And when he is healthy, he out there dropping too many footballs.
Yeah.
They need to get Lamar a legit guy. I like Isaiah Likely at tight end, though.
Yeah, that was
like him.
He a beast.
Yeah, but they need to get Lamar like a legit guy.
Yeah, I could see, man, if the Ravens was that, like, dude, if they was to get a guy like, what's the kid, Malachi Corley, sort of like the same.
Another one of Now we talking about, because I saw a mock draft the other day that had Baltimore trading up for Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, I don't believe that's gonna happen, but potentially in the second round, could they take a flyer on a guy like Xavier Leggett? A guy who's borderline 6'2", 220 plus, 4.3 type of speed or whatnot.
Yeah, I kind of want him now. Now I seen him run and his measurables.
Oh, Xavier?
Tennessee, Tennessee's. I kind of like him. That I'm gonna tell you, if I had to rate the 5 guys a receiver that I want, that I know we can get. I'm not gonna say Adonze because we're not gonna get him. Harrison. I'm gonna say if I had to rate him, Malachi Corley. I like Javon Baker. I like Xavier Leggett. I like what's the kid from the other one from Washington, Jalen Polk, and and Brian Thomas Jr. You know, I like and Keon Coleman. Like we haven't talked about Keon Coleman. I think, like you said, well, I think that would be a welcome sight to get a guy like him, because you know, for everybody that liked Antoine Green like I did, I mean, he's not, you know, the playmaker is getting one of those other guys I just mentioned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not banking on a project.
Yeah, Antoine Green's a guy who made plays in college, but it's different, you know, to translate it. So we need that impact. We need enough. I think to put our, and before we get out of here, you know, we could talk about like putting our offense to the next level. I think that's what we kind of missing. I think we don't necessarily, it'd be nice to have a fast guy, but like I said, Brian Thomas Jr. is a guy I'm pegging.
We got a fast guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. We don't really need a guy who's, I just think Brian Thomas needs that presence that we need, a big, you know, like an AJ Brown type. I was just going to say that, and I think that's kind of what we need. That's kind of what we missing, our offense. And our offense was good last year. So,
yeah. So I want to ask you about that because you brought him up. Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
I think he ran that 4.61. I didn't expect him to run that slow. I knew he was nowhere near the 4.3 they was talking about during the middle of the season. Don't believe anything that you hear that comes out of college football. I don't care if you read these guys' measurables, 40 times, vertical leaps, none of it. Yeah. All of it is a lie. Every bit of it is a lie. You hear about these receivers that's 6'4.5". By the time they get to the combine, they 6'1.25". Did they shrink? No, they didn't shrink. They just embellish everything in college football. But I like Keon Coleman, man. Despite the fact that he ran the 4.61, I look at these guys for what their skill set is. He's a big-bodied receiver, 6'3", 212, probably heading somewhere north of 220 by the time he's 2 years into the league, more than likely. Probably the best hands in his class. High pointer. Ball skills, jump balls, can run all the routes you need him to run, not scared to go across the middle.
Peace.
He's dependable. He's very dependable. And for a team that has, and I don't want to offend anybody when I talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown being a slot receiver, but that's where I think he's his most effective. I think having a possession receiver like Keon Coleman, paired with Amon-Ra St. Brown, paired with a speed guy like Jameson Williams could be tremendous for this offense. I'm not as upset about him not running the 4.5 or a 4.4 40 or whatnot, because I know exactly what Keon Coleman's skill set is. Now, if the NFL feels like screw him, he ran a 4.61, we ain't taking him in the first, we ain't taking him in the second. You best believe one of those 2 third-round picks, if Keon Coleman is there, hell yeah, I'll take him. Because I know exactly what Keon Coleman is, and I know what he would bring to our offense.
Yeah. Facts. That's all facts. I agree with every word of that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, like I said, everybody's got a rightful place, and to build a championship juggernaut team, I think that right now we got some pieces, man. We just got to build on what we have, and I think our team, well, as a whole, like we talking about the Lions now, to noticeably change our team up to where we can't roll. We talked about it before. Both sides of the ball, you can't roll the same team out there, right? You're gonna have to the scheme's gonna have to be a little changed a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Your approach gonna have to change because teams coming at you now. Teams coming at the Lions. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna be able to hide and sneak up and win these games, and you know what I'm saying, without changing your squad and you getting a different for once now. Well, we get to dictate like how we want to play. So now you get those guys, those like you said, those unicorn, those difference makers, those outliers. Now it's the time to get those guys, because now we got the role players, or however you want to put it, the second string guys, or guys that has outplayed where they've been drafted. So yeah, I agree with you. Keon Coleman would be great, you know what I'm saying, for this team. Just the way he operates, and playing and the route running, like you put that video up today, and he was on point, I mean, everything you were saying about it, because that's exactly what we're missing, I think. Think about it, Wall polished, because think about our receiving core now, like this past season, like Jameson Williams, not yet polished. I think next year going to take a big leap, but right now, not yet polished. Laporta in the past game was polished. A guy, you don't have to worry about him. He got hurt at the end of the year. We know St. Brown's a dog. But other than that, Josh Reynolds made some key catches last year, you know what I'm saying? But not a guy, every game he going to get 6 or 7 for 95 and a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? That's St. Brown.
Because he don't get the ball unless he open. Well, not just him, but
yeah.
Jared has to. And don't get me wrong, he had a good season last year. He had a good season prior. Jared has to take more completions. And what I mean by that is this whole I only throw the football to who's open shit got to stop. Like the top tier quarterbacks, the elite quarterbacks take completions. Patrick Mahomes takes completions. Justin Herbert takes completions. Josh Allen takes completions. Even Jordan Love, we saw countless throws in that wild card game against Dallas that made us say, damn, like that guy wasn't open, but Jordan Love threw him open and got the completion there. That's why I think we need a guy similar to Keon Coleman, who may not separate as well, but in situations where St. Brown is bracketed and isn't getting open, and teams are focused on Laporta, and you have to maybe take a completion there. The completion isn't there. But Jared forces the ball in there to his guy and trusts his guy. We don't see a lot of those types of throws from Jared. And I think having a tall red zone threat, more athletic than Josh Reynolds, because let's be honest, Reynolds ain't really a separator either, but he trusts Reynolds. Yeah. So I think if we had someone out there, a bigger body receiver, a Brandon Marshall type, that's pretty much what I compared him to. He's sort of a poor man's Brandon Marshall.
Yeah.
And Marshall couldn't separate for shit. But Marshall was still consistently
in the red zone.
100 catch a year dude.
Yeah.
Everywhere he went.
Yeah. He's nightmare in the red zone. So yeah, that's what we need. Yeah. I totally agree. I was saying it last year. So hopefully we address that, you know what I'm saying, this year.
Basically more gunslinger out of Jared. Can I get a little bit more gunslinger? We talked about who Tom Brady was, Brady's first 5 years in the league as a starter, first 6 years in the league as a starter. He was a game manager. And as Avery used to say, peace to Avery out there, Spirit of Detroit, we saw Tom Brady graduate to gunslinger. That's kind of what I want to see from Jared Goff. I want to see Jared Goff graduate from the guy who only throws to guys if they're completely wide open to the gunslinger. And a lot of that comes with the confidence. You don't necessarily have to have a huge arm to be a gunslinger. Brady didn't have a huge arm. I think being a gunslinger is more about mentality and the will to go out there and win. Now, that doesn't mean turn the ball over everywhere, left and right. But if we can get Jared to be a little bit more ballsy when it comes to going out there and taking some of these throws, I think we can really have a pretty dominant offense. We were dominant offensively a year ago, but pairing that offensive line with that running game and give us a solid red zone threat, because right now it's all about teams knowing the passing game. LaPorta, St. Brown. Who else they really got to stop?
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. We got questions. We got comments. Orlando says another LaPorta type. Could be. Orlando also says Staffy was, but that gets dangerous. Yeah. Kind of the extreme. Stafford was a big-time gunslinger, but Stafford's nowhere near the quarterback right now that I think he was with us. And it's neither here nor there why he was the type of quarterback he was with us. You know, we can get into the organization and coaching staffs and all that type of stuff. But I don't even need Jared to be a gunslinger to the Stafford point. Stafford has that right arm that ain't going no damn where. Period. I just want to see Jared take more throws. Play safe. I'm not telling you to not play safe because Patrick Mahomes plays safe. But Patrick also makes the plays. If you can't be a game changer with your legs as a quarterback, you for damn sure have to be a game changer with your arm. That's my whole thing with Goff. Just want to see him graduate to a whole nother level, man. Got one more comment. Orlando says, we don't re-sign Goff. I bring Stafford back. I think Kelly ain't having that, bro. I don't think Kelly having that here in Detroit no more. That Detroit boat has sailed. But we've had these people for 1 hour and 37 minutes. I think we did a hell of a breakdown of this NFL Combine. It's over now. I mean, pro days are coming up, but what more can you see or hear from a pro day that's going to change your mind about a player, man? We pretty much all know everything we need to know about these players. Now it's time for you, me, Avery as well to get our big boards together, our personal big boards, our big boards in regards to who we believe Brad Holmes and this regime is probably looking at in regards to also who they should be looking at. And hey, it's draft time, baby, man. So what you got to say to bring this to a close, bro? Because we have fed these people a lot about this NFL Combine so far.
Yeah, you know, the only thing I can say is this, you know, as far as the prospects go, I think this is one of the deepest drafts I've seen in the last 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, both sides of the ball as players to be had. You know what I'm saying? The $1 million question is, you know, the free agency. I think Orlando just put up March 11th. That's key because that's the free agent. The new season starts basically next week, and we'll see what direction we go because you know, we know what we need. We know, like, defensively what's there, what needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting to see how we're going to attack it. You know what I'm saying? Are we going to go defense and get the for sure commodities at corner? I'm hearing, like, I think I seen where L'Jarius Sneed, and that's going to be another show. We really have to get into it tonight, but I think he got franchised. So maybe you know, that's out the window, but I did see Marshawn Lattimore now. You know, I don't know how I feel about that yet. If they was to go after him, I'm not a Marshawn Lattimore guy at all, so I hope that's not the case. But
I like him.
You like him?
I think he's at the tail end of his career.
Yeah, see, I'm out on that. I'd rather get a young corner. But I would say this: we are 1 or 2 moves like that away from, like, really solidifying what we need on defense. So what I'm saying is what I need. Yeah, Cesar Ruiz. I did see Orlando say that. I like Cesar Ruiz. That would be another
former Wolverine, huh?
Yeah, another guy. Maybe could. I don't know if he plays guard. If he could play guard, because I was thinking if Ragnow played and Ruiz came in and maybe take Glasgow's spot. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know if he ever played guard.
I thought he was playing guard with the Saints.
He was?
Because I'm not mistaken, Eric McCoy. I thought Eric McCoy was still there. I don't know, man. The Saints invested so much money in that offensive line over the past. Well, not past. When Breeze was there and Peyton was there, and now they kind of had to clean house. But yeah, man, I agree. I think we see year by year with every passing year, these dudes get more bigger and more athletic.
Oh man,
the offensive linemen, the defensive linemen,
it's crazy.
The linebackers look like safeties.
Yeah, man.
The tight ends look like wide receivers. The quarterbacks look like tight ends.
The offensive lineman is running 4.9s, bro. Almost 5. It just, man, I never seen a time like this. Offensive lineman is running like high 4s now. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be with the time. I think, it's forcing the Lions to get this is why I want to see us get some impact players. Well, that's what I want. I mean, I think if you have to trade up and get some guys and sacrifice some picks in this draft, you do it. You know what I'm saying? Because 8 draft picks ain't going to help us this year. You know what I'm saying? I think 3 impact guys will, though. You know what I'm saying? So go for it this year. That's what my advice. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Holmes stated that in his presser a week ago that they're looking for cornerstone players in this draft. I took that the same way you took it. I think they're aiming, if they need to trade up for certain guys, they will trade up for certain guys. I'm not sure how having 8 more rookies on this team is going to improve things. A lot of times teams and fans always want to trade back. I don't see how going from 8 picks to 11 picks makes us that much better unless you're discussing years 6 through 10 of the rebuild.
Of course.
Because years 6 through 10 of this rebuild, we're here now, we're built, but years 6 through 10 of the rebuild, this is where the draft funds that. Because now you're talking about, because you can't keep everybody. So in another 2 years, we're going to be having some tough discussions about, damn, we can't keep this guy. We can't keep that guy. Mm-hmm. But that's where guys you took in this particular draft come into play.
Of course.
Because you got to make the hard decisions. You can't keep everybody you like.
And I think they're already doing that. You know what I'm saying? I think quietly, if I had to make a prediction, we're going to do our next week we come back with our free agent show. You know what I'm saying? We can start talking about that, obviously, and signings and guys. I don't know if Jonah Jackson coming back. I'm just going to say that. I think Chauncey Gardner's not going to be back. It's just I don't have to get into it today. I mean, I think that's our next show. We can kind of go and pick through our free agents. And
we got the mock draft, man. The combine over now.
Yeah.
So now we can give these people another mock draft in a couple of days.
Yeah, we'll do it a couple of days. That'll be fun. You know what I'm saying? The mock drafts, I'm addicted to it. And I'm going to just tell you, once we get there, I'm telling you, the same guys is there for us. That's how I know it's going to be a good draft, because damn near, like, the guys that when we pick, it's going to be depending on what side of the ball we need at that spot, if we don't trade up or trade back or whatever. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. No, it's an hour and 43 minutes. You guys know how we do. We go over and over and over again. We can't give y'all a solid 45 minutes because we got so much to talk about and so much information to give you guys. But thank you for joining us for another action-packed hour and a half. We will be back in a couple days to bring you guys the NFL Combine mock draft, post-NFL Combine. We did one prior. Who did we take in the first round?
Oh, boy.
What? Oh, yeah, it was. You talked to me in the Kool-Aid McKinstry.
That's who it was? Okay.
That's who it was in the first round.
Yeah, we got to redeem ourselves, bro. Yeah, let's come back.
It won't be him.
No, hell no. Let's go back. Come back Thursday if you can.
Yeah. All right. Good night to everybody. One Pride.